Hey everyone, I'm Scott. Thanks for joining me. This holiday season, we've got some great recipe content we're throwing at you. This one today is our holiday peppermint bark. Now, what is holiday peppermint bark? You may be asking yourself. Well, it starts with a little bit of dark chocolate, a little bit of white chocolate. We melt them down. We make a beautiful candy cane style bark using, of course, some leftover crushed candy canes. Of course, they're going around. They're all over the place. It's the holidays, right? And the little pretzels over the top of this recipe in particular. Now, for other customization, because we are using such a finite amount of ingredients, you can really customize like crazy. Okay, the holiday peppermint bark starts with, of course, some of our melting chocolate. Now, there's different chocolates you can find throughout H-E-B, different kind of melting chocolates or chocolate coatings. Any one will do. I happen to like this one. It gives me a little more bang for my buck, the H-E-B dark chocolate candy coating here. Whoops, I just took it away from Rob. He'll need that right there so you can get that angle on it right here. Great to use in the microwave, a couple of minutes on 30-second burst. You get this beautiful melted chocolate. Let's go ahead and get this started now. So the biggest thing I could say, the takeaway, whenever you're melting chocolate is, don't go all in at once, because if you do it all at once for 2 minutes thinking you're going to melt it all, naturally when the product, whether you have a microwave that either spins and rotates, which is great, or if you don't have one, you're going to get these hot spots. You'll find places where you don't want it to scald in one spot and then be completely smooth and, you know, candy coating in other spots. So you want to kind of make sure that you temper this the right way. And so doing it every 30 seconds, spinning it, do a little spoon action on this. Now, the good thing about these candy coatings are we're going to use the vanilla, the white chocolate, the vanilla, and the dark chocolate. They're pretty thick, as you can see here. This is a pretty thick bar. The tray, 100% microwavable. It's easy. It's no mess. I don't have to grab an extra glass bowl to melt it in. I don't have to break them up. It literally would just kind of slowly melt on its own. You stir it up. It goes over the top of a piece of parchment paper. Now, the other thing, so I'm going to turn this around. So let's show you every phase here. So you see a little bit of that, see a little bit of the chocolate kind of coming off there, a little bit top cam, a little bit of that. Just starting to melt there. It's starting to get a little bit different here. So I'm going to turn it sideways. 30 more seconds here. You'll start to notice next time. It'll get a little bit softer. As we're microwaving, this would be the point you'd kind of get your old candy canes, or in my case, the candy canes that I saved from previous years, because I'm not a big candy cane guy, unless you have the like Spree or Sweet Tart candy canes. I'm all in on those. Those that don't taste like the peppermint, I'm in on the new wave. Gummy bears, any now and later, whatever candy cane you got, send them my way. I'll take care of your old ones, but I'll give you my old peppermint candy canes in return. You'd want to go ahead and crush up your candy canes, your pretzels if you're going to use those. What's also really good on this, if you're not a big pretzel person, I love, or if you want to stay more gluten-free, you could use a gluten-free pretzel or a potato chip. Potato chips are also fantastic in the dark chocolate. You're going to get that saltiness. So now you can see, if I push on this, up, you see a little of that kind of chocolate kind of coming through here. We're getting there. It's getting closer. Oh, this is nice. So I'm going to turn that. We got a little hot spot in there. I have a 1925 old school microwave here that melts at there's like, I have to wear a special protective coating because it's one of the first models they've ever had. And so it melts very unevenly in this microwave. Most microwaves now will have the turntable on it. It does a little better, so you get a little more even melting. But as I'm going to go here, let's see how close all right, we're getting really close. Now check this out. So I'm going to take out my spoon. I recommend always having some plastic spoons around the kitchen to kind of help you. So you can see here, we're getting very close. So we're just going to move this around. Now it needs a little more time, because if I try to pour this again, I'm going to have some of these big chunks in there, and I do not want that. But give that a little stir. Again, this plastic, or this heat microwavable safe, what's the word? Sounds like microwave safe tray is fantastic, and it cools very easily to the touch, which is nice. All right, I'm going to do just 30 more seconds and then we're ready to go. So at this time, now the recipe calls for a piece of parchment on the counter. And that's fine, but I want to make sure if you've got the kids around you doing this, kind of keep it to a confined space. I always do, you'll have plenty of room on a half sheet pan, a little parchment in the center to kind of really go crazy in color within the lines here. But you want to make sure if you just put a piece of parchment on the counter, it could kind of leak, it could go everywhere. And if you've got really nice countertops, I don't want to stain that. The dark chocolate, obviously really, really dark and staining. And I don't want you to have to scrape this off if you've got some beautiful countertops, you don't do that. All right, this is ready to go. So check this out. Here we go. Overhead cam here, you see how we got our nice and melty. If you still have lumps, give it a second and kind of stir this, because there is enough heat now in this tray to kind of get whatever maybe little scraggling pieces didn't quite melt all the way. Look at that beautiful, glossy, dark chocolate. All right, we need a spatula, and I'm going to take my spatula over here, and I'm going to show you a great little trick. So we're going to go right, I'm going to do it just like this, but I'm going to show you a fun little trick to kind of make the zigzag pretty lines here. All of it comes out, everything out of the tray, every little ounce of that last little bit of chocolate. So don't feel like, holy cow, it's going to solidify immediately. Work fast. Like, you don't have to go, don't go crazy. You got a little bit of time. So I'm going to turn this over, and I'm going to kind of smooth this out. So I'm going to kind of move this kind of down a little bit. And then with long strokes, I'm going to kind of make like little, see how I'm on either side, I'm kind of doing little swoops. So that's what I'm going to do here, because I want the bark to be somewhere where you kind of got an even distribution of whatever topping you're going to put on there. You see where we're just kind of going back and forth, little swoop, swoop, keep it even. Now, if you really want it to be a real thick kind of bark, which, you know, I don't know if you want to crack your teeth during the holidays or not, but you could always go on like a 9 by 13 inch casserole dish with this, and you could kind of have the little sides on there, and then you'd have a little bit more of that like thicker kind of edge. I find this is really good because it's a little bit thinner, and that way this is something that's giftable, that's really great, it's simple to do. Little giftable idea here. All right, so that's about good. A couple of wavy lines here. Still nice and melted, so it's still kind of like, it's nice and sticky. So at this point, this is where you would add your candy canes, your little candy cane pieces. Now, this is where we're going for that like kind of York peppermint patty kind of thing here. The more you do. If you really wanted to grind up your candy canes or your mint chocolate chip or your mint pieces, you could really go a really fine, like, you know, kind of powder on this, which may be a little cooler, but this has a little more visual appeal. You know, it has a little more of that for the kids that love the candy canes. This is great to see little big pieces of these flexed in there. All right, now the salt, right? This is where I would say dark chocolate, you always get a little bit of salt on top, but we're going to use the salt in the form of our H-E-B pretzels here. I'm using those little, just the regular old twisted pretzels. You want to use pretzel sticks, break them up. You want to use the sourdough pretzels we have. That'll also work as well. A little more flavor. Just a little bit of extra color here on this. Again, that red plays really, really nice. It's just how much salt you want. I like a lot of salt, so I'm going to put a little more than you probably need. All right, now at this point, this is going to go and relax. We're going to melt our vanilla coating or our white chocolate that we're going to drizzle over the top. This is done. That's how fast this is. It takes literally no time. So if you want to cool this quicker, we can go right into the refrigerator for 10-15 minutes, let it completely solidify, or you can just let it sit at room temperature, somewhere kind of cool, away from anything hot like a stove, and that way it'll set up just as about 20 minutes or so. So I'm going to throw this in the fridge. I have my cooled bark, and this is what's also very cool. Check this. We're going to go vertical. What? Look, it's starting to peel away. I don't want to flip it over. Watch. I'll be the guy that does this. I'm trying to show off and be, you know, and it'll slip out of my hands and crack, and I'll be like, and there's your bark. Just pick up the pieces and put it in a container and give it to your neighbors. But no, it's ready to go. So we're going to melt our white chocolate so we can have this over there. Now, I don't need a ton. I don't need this whole thing, so I'm going to make this a little bit easier on my tray. I'm going to break it in half. That's really all I need. This is just for a garnish, so you don't have to go crazy. Again, if you want to melt it and completely, you could make a complete sandwich of all this great stuff in the middle and just basically pour the entire other piece over it, smooth it out, and then you can make like a kind of a double-decker treat, add a little bit more of your candy pieces and your pretzels if you wanted to. Back in the fridge, let it chill down for a little bit, and you're good to go. But this is plenty good as is. I'm going to wipe this up right here. And then the best part of this is, I feel like, is when you get to kind of break it all up. All right, as you can see, our chocolate, the little white chocolate drizzle we're going to do is completely melted, nice and smooth. This is ready to go. And this is as much or as little as you want to do on this. It's completely up to you. This is where you can get the kids involved as well. I just like to do a little bit of this, you know, this lends itself more to the Jackson Pollock style feel of, you know, decorating. Now, if you had a little sauce spoon, you could definitely do a little slider drizzle. With me, this is my attempt to make my own little bit of artwork here. This is just fun. So a little bit, as little as much as you want. Again, it's that little extra butter flavor. Again, dark chocolate, nice and bitter. It's nice to have a little something kind of cuts against it. Boom, boom. That is it. That is it. And this goes into the fridge. 5-10 minutes max. Let it kind of solidify, and then we'll break it up. My holiday peppermint bark is done. It's all cooled. You can see here. Watch as we go. What? See what I said earlier? I said, watch, I'm going to do this and it'll break on me. But look, it's so solidified, it stayed together. Watch this. Come on, how cool is that? Now, we talked about earlier it being kind of a giftable. So I've got this K&T Tupperware. So this is where you can just break up some of the bark, give it to the neighbors next door. Let me see, can I fit one more piece in there? Yes, I can. There we go. Yeah, get it on there. It would help if the top was on the right way. Also helpful. You can tell it's my first time using the fancy Tupperware. All right, that is it. So it's really, really easy, guys. To get more great holiday content right here at HEB, simply hit the subscribe button. There's more great holiday content coming your way. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, and look forward to seeing you next time. Stay tuned for more great holiday content right here.